Today's Namaste Yoga is the first in a series of classes on the yoga for emotions.
Hello, welcome to episode 2.
Here's our blanket. Excellent.
Asymmetrical twirling. Dropping and sinking up. Notice how
So just notice.
Joining us for the second episode next week. Namaste.
Hello and welcome to episode 98 of Namaste Yoga. I'm so happy you could join us today. Today we begin a new series of classes on the yoga of emotions. This series is being inspired by Peter Marchand's book, The Yoga of 9 Emotions, Rasa, Sadhana. And I showed that book on my last podcast, and I forgot to bring it with me to the lake today. But also you can see it on my blog. If you go to melissawest.com and look under my blog, there's a recent blog entry there. And that blog entry got a lot of attention yesterday. Apparently we got a few people noticing us through that. So I want to share with you, Karuna Erickson, who is the co-author of Heart Yoga with Andrew Harvey, actually wrote me, and I can't tell you how humbled and touched I was to hear from her. This is what she said. Dear Melissa, I was so touched by your article on emotions. It so resonated with Andrew's and my approach to heart yoga. Sometimes we devote 6 sessions to the teaching of the sacred marriage, then the joys of transcendence, creation, love, the tantra of tenderness, and the service that flower from the marriage. Blessings on the beautiful teachings you offer to the world. I hope to meet you someday. Namaste, Karuna. And I have to say that the feeling is totally mutual. The teachings that she and Andrew offer in their book Heart Yoga are incredibly beautiful, heart-centered, spirit-centered practices that I highly recommend. And I'm sure I've shown that book actually here on the show before. I also got an invitation to go to Australia. I love this. Let me see if I can find that one. Oh, I got a recording office or a person sending me here it is. I had a recording artist offered to send us some music, so I'm looking forward to receiving that for our podcast as well. But this was really cool. This is from Vita in Australia. She responded to the article I posted on my blog about the yoga of 9 emotions, and she said, "Sounds really lovely and interesting. Come to Australia and give us a workshop." And I thought, yes, when's the next flight out? We'll come. We're actually recording today, and it's not raining. Really, it's not. So, and I also want to thank all those people who subscription payments have come in over the last few days. Viola Virginia Vazio from Italy, thank you so much for your monthly donation. And also Rondell Parker, thank you so much for your monthly donation. Those donations make a huge difference to us and help us with the cost of distributing a free yoga podcast like this. So thank you. Okay. So I would strongly encourage you to check out that blog entry that I posted on the Yoga of 9 Emotions. It's also went out in my newsletter if you subscribe to my newsletter. In it, I describe the importance of bringing a feeling of compassion and kindness to ourselves as we explore the emotions. So emotional exploration is not a free-for-all for harsh judgment of ourselves. Instead, it's time for us to open to compassionate awareness, to explore our emotions without judging them. And we do this by bringing acceptance to whatever comes up. So it's not that one feeling is good and another feeling is bad. They're all just feelings. Feelings come and they go. And what we're going to work with here are some tools to navigate through those emotions. So I'm going to encourage you to rest back. Lie down for Shavasana. That wasn't thunder, right? And allow yourself to be comfortable, creating a sacred and safe place for you to explore emotional yoga in a loving and accepting way. So let's set the intention to bring our awareness to our emotions in a way that brings us insight and spiritual growth. And let these teachings bring understanding rather than harsh judgment. So as you rest back, we're working with the emotion of fear today. And some of us might feel that, fear isn't a very common emotion, but I would challenge you and say that yes, it is actually. If we think about another type of fear, maybe a subtler version of fear, there's anxiety. And I think a lot of us experience stress and anxiety on a continual basis throughout our days. So as you rest back and begin to tune in to your body and your breathing, just become aware of where you feel fear most in your body. If fear was to have a home in your body, where would that home be? And maybe you can connect with that place in your body by placing your hands on that place, connecting in some way, maybe feeling it more deeply internally. So as you begin to connect with this emotion of fear, see if you can exaggerate that feeling of fear and tell yourself more about it. And see if there's any way that you could internally amplify the feeling and the sensation of fear in your body. So tell yourself more about these feelings and sensations associated with fear. And now go to a time or place in the near or distant past where you felt fear. And tell yourself about that experience. And enhance your awareness of fear by connecting with that time or place from the past. So what stands out when you connect to this emotion of fear? What seems most significant when you connect to fear? And what does that reveal to you about how you live your life? What's the life connection? How does it relate to the rest of your life? Now bring your awareness to that part of you that is wise, all-knowing, and loves you unconditionally. And when you feel connected to that wise, all-knowing, unconditional love, be open to whatever guidance, blessing, or wisdom that part of you has to offer. And now form an intention for working with fear today, for exploring and navigating the emotion of fear. What would you like to receive from this practice? What's your sankalpa? And then begin to wiggle and stretch out, move your body a little, but stay lying on your back. When we look at the Ayurvedic constitutions and the 3 doshas, you'll find that it's the vata dosha that deals with fear and anxiety the most. And so today's practice is asana, a series of asanas in yoga practice that helps to ground and move energy out of your busy head into your body in a grounding way to help ease and eliminate fear. So begin by drawing your right knee into your chest. And focus on your breath out. And now slowly release your right leg, extend it out. Take a deep breath in. And let it fall out of your mouth. And now start to bring your left knee into your chest. So according to Ayurvedic medicine, the colon, the large intestine, is the site for vata in the body. And so by focusing on the large intestine and the colon, and this actually presses here, your left leg is pressing on your descending colon, it helps to heal some of the imbalances of the vata dosha, such as fear and anxiety. Okay, and then release your left leg from your body. And just take a moment and check in and notice what's happening in your body now. See if you feel more grounded, a little more connected to the earth, to the nurturing qualities of Mother Earth. And then bend your knees and place your feet flat on the ground. And you'll take your hands by the side of your body. We're going to move into bridge pose. So you're going to inhale up, take your arms overhead. And then exhale and lower down. And we'll go back and forth like this, Really feeling your feet rooted into the ground. And then hug your knees into your chest. And then release your knees and roll over onto your side and onto your stomach. Okay, so press the front of your pelvis into the ground here. Rest your forehead on the roofs of your hands. You're going to inhale here and exhale. Lengthen long through your right leg until it reaches off the ground. Lengthening through your ascending colon. Focus on your exhale. Slowly lower your right leg down, wiggle your hips from side to side. Tuck your tail under and lengthen long through your left leg until it reaches off the ground. Lower your left leg and push yourself up onto all fours. Sit back onto your heels for child's pose. I think they must have just cut the lawn here. And then inhale up onto all fours. We're going to do cat pose. And this pose is great for keeping your spine supple. So your spine protects your central nervous system. And you can imagine that if there's a lot of anxiety, it causes agitation on the central nervous system. And so when we work with poses like cat pose that really stretch and move the spine, it massages the central nervous system and eases that agitation. So exhale and round up through your back. And inhale and arch your back. So fear happens when our mind is busy worrying about the future. And so when fear comes up for us, we can just check in and see, have I made adequate plans for that future event that I'm worrying about? And if so, then you can let go of that worry, because it's not doing any good. So part of fear is making sure we perform our day-to-day duties, our household duties, and get these things that are required of us done on a day-to-day basis. And that does a lot to ease anxiety. So we need to make sure our schedules are not too full and we're not trying to accomplish too much, because then we will always be in a state of fear and anxiety. Okay, and then let's stretch our spine a little bit more by rotating it. So inhale, take your right arm out to the side. Exhale, lower your right shoulder and the right side of your head down onto the ground. Fear also comes up because of the unknown. So when that kind of fear arises, we can ease our anxiety by getting more information, by speaking to somebody, but eventually as we progress on our spiritual path, we will know that there is nothing to fear, because ultimately everything turns out for your highest good. Come back to the center, and let's do that on the other side as well. So inhale, open up to the left side. Exhale, rotate your left shoulder and the left side of your head onto the ground. Rotate your ribs around. Focus on your exhalation, and in fact, a great tool for working with stress and anxiety, kind of worry, is to breathe it out on your exhalation. And then slowly come out of this stretch. And let's just stretch out our hips a little bit. So slide your right knee forward to your right wrist. Bring your right heel over to your left hip bone. Lengthen long back through your left leg. And fold forward over your bent right knee. So we can tend to store a lot of energy and emotions in our hips. So hip openers are a great idea for working with our emotions and creating freedom of flow of our emotions. So in our bodies, our hips are the transfer unit between the lower and your upper body, and creating good flow of energy through your pelvis is crucial. Also, when you're thinking about the chakra system, the second chakra is related to the element of water. And emotions are related to water as well. And just like water, emotions should flow. We should really try not to suppress them or keep them pushed down inside, because then they just dam up. And then what ends up happening is they come out in a huge surge, maybe at the most inconvenient time. So fully feeling, experiencing, and expressing our emotions is incredibly healthy to create good flow, energetic flow in your body. Okay, and tuck your tail under, come upright. Let's do the back bending version of pigeon for a few minutes here. When we go into fear and worry, we tend to contract and round and lift our shoulders. So let's practice the opposite here. Tuck your tail under, lift your heart, drop your shoulders down away from your ears. And then step back into downward facing dog. And this reminds me, I was going to Google today when your jade yoga mat starts to be less sticky, how to make it sticky again. If anybody knows the answer to that, you need to let me know. This mat's starting to drive me crazy. You're going to bend your left knee forward. Bring your left heel over towards your right hip bone. And fold forward over your left leg. So our hips can be quite tight. This can be an area of really intense sensation of held tension in our bodies. And some of this held tension can be emotional tension. And it's interesting, when we're working with the emotion of fear, sometimes there can be a little fear or anxiety around staying with these intense sensations in our yoga practice. But ultimately, we should stay with them unless there's sharp or electric pain, and just ride them out until we find ease and steadiness again in the posture. Because if we don't learn how to stay with intense sensation or emotions in our yoga practice, then we aren't learning how to transfer those skills from our yoga mat into our lives. So we practice staying in our yoga postures so we can practice staying in our lives. Okay, tuck your tail under and come into that upright pigeon, that back bending posture. Vata people have a tendency towards kyphosis, towards a rounded upper back from that kind of fear response. So we're going to practice doing the opposite. Okay, tuck your right toes under at the back. Step back into downward facing dog. And then walk your feet in towards your hands. And make your way up to standing. Okay, so as I mentioned, when we experience fear and anxiety, our shoulders tend to come up. We tend to go in a protective mode where our heart sinks forward, and then you get this kyphosis, this rounding of your upper back. And so we're going to bring some neutrality to that by rolling your shoulders back and down. Interlace your fingers behind your back, reach your sit bones towards your ankles, and lift your chest. And just notice what it feels like to be more open like this. It does take courage to be really open in your body. And then release this from your body. Okay, so when we're working with the vata dosha, which is really prone to worry and anxiety, we want to work with apana vayu. So if you go back to the last series of classes that we just finished on the 5 vayus, the second class on the 5 vayus was apana vayu. And it focuses on that downward moving energy and on letting go. And one of the things that we can let go of is fear. And the way we can do this is by connecting to our legs and our feet, feeling strong and connected to the earth, feeling confident in our sense of survival. All these things help to ease and eliminate fear in our life. So we're going to do tree pose, standing on your left leg. Yogini Shambhavi Chopra calls this Parvati pose. Parvati, known for her steadiness and dedication. Turn your I'm not sure if I just mirrored you, but this right leg, and turn your left leg out. Pick up your left foot, place it somewhere on the inside of your right leg. The higher you lift your leg, the more challenging your balance will be. And imagine that your legs are growing roots from here down into the ground, creating that stability, that security. Hands are at your heart center, and then you can take them up and overhead. Great. And then release. Shift your weight onto your left foot. Turn your right knee out. Pick up your right foot. Place it somewhere on the inside of your left leg. Hands to your heart center. Feel as though your legs are creating a root system deep down into the earth. And then take your arms up and overhead. And then release this pose from your body. Take your legs wide. The inner edges of your feet are parallel. Inhale here, roll your pelvis, leg bones, and come into a wide-legged standing forward bend. Forward bends are a great antidote to fear because they're quite calming. Then roll your pelvis over your leg bones and come back up to standing. Okay, so it said when we work with fear or to navigate fear, it's good to have clear vision so we can work with our third eye. So our third eye is our window into our vision, both seen and unseen, and it has to do with having a vision for your future. And so if we work and clear the energy in our third eye, then we can have a clear vision for our future, not a vision for our future that is clouded with fear. So we're going to do eagle's pose today, and I'm going to try and do it. I don't know if you guys can see, but I'm on a real slope, so real yoga for real people, right? You're going to bend your right leg, cross your left leg over your right leg. You can keep your left toes on the ground, or you can hook them all the way around. And I'm just going to keep them on the ground while I set this up. Then bring your right arm up and hook your left arm underneath it for eagle's arms. Okay, so you can either keep your left foot to the outside of your right leg or hook it all the way around. So eagles are said to have this incredible capacity for vision, to be able to have really broad focus. And so if we had infinite vision, we would know that all is well. Everything is going to turn out all right. There's nothing to fear. Okay, great. Let's try this pose on the other side. Actually, that was a really interesting experience, having my foot so flexed and the back of my ankle on that pose because of the incline here. Kind of cool. So let's try this on the other side. Stand on your left leg, cross your right leg over your left leg, bend your left leg. I'm just going to keep this on the ground while I set up my arms. So my left arm comes up, my right arm hooks underneath it. And then you can either leave your right toes on the ground, or you can pick them up and maybe even hook them. Okay, good. So a pose like eagle pose is fantastic for building up that steadiness, that calmness, taking that moment to pause and find focus, instead of letting the monkey mind run wild and imagine the worst possible outcome. It's a great antidote to fear, to teaching you how to deal with fear. Okay. For our inversion today, we're going to do legs up the wall. So if you want to get yourself sorted with legs up the wall. I'm going to actually show you an alternative to that with legs on a chair. I'm actually going to borrow Tim's chair for one pose. He's going to have to give up his chair behind the camera. But this is a great way to do legs at the wall if you don't have a wall available. So here's our chair. So coming into this pose and coming up to into legs at the wall works basically the same way. If this is a wall, you'd put your right up against the wall and then roll your legs around and bring them straight up it. Because it's a chair, I'm just going to rest my legs here. So one of the antidotes to fear is calmness. And I took a really great yoga workshop once on the psoas muscle, and the teacher in that class called this position constructive rest. How fabulous is that? And then we're going to continue with our third eye theme by doing eagle's arms again. So hook your right hand underneath your left arm and then rest your right hand on your third eye. This is called sleeping eagle. So legs at the wall or legs on a chair with sleeping eagle arms. Okay, and then let's switch arms to do the other way. And then release this. And let's make our way up to sitting. So bend your knees, roll to your side, and come up to sitting. Come to sitting with your legs straight out in front of you. Bend your right leg. Cross your right leg over your left leg. Keep your left leg long, maybe, depending on the flexibility of your hips. If you can bend your left heel up to your right sit bone and keep both your right foot and your right buttocks on the ground, then you can bend your left leg. If not, keep your left leg straight. Lengthen up through your spine, wrap your left arm around your right leg and turn toward it. So again, we go back to apana, vayu, and the descending colon as the main site of vata, and stimulating that, because vatas are the ones that are prone to fear and anxiety. That's the reason for doing this pose. And come back to center. Uncross your legs and place them in front of you. You can hear that water getting whipped up here. The reason why I chose to do this series on the emotions in the fall, because we're coming into fall here in the Northern Hemisphere, is because it is the season of vata, and it's a season where the wind starts to whip up, and this for us can be unsettling to our systems, and it can stir up a lot of emotions. And so that's why I've chosen to offer this series in the fall, in the autumn. Cross the left leg over your right leg. Option to keep this right leg long or to bend it into your left buttocks, but you want to make sure you have your left bum and your left foot on the ground. Wrap your right arm around your left leg and turn it towards it. And then come back to center. Release your legs. Shake it out. Bend your knees. Just a slight bend in your knees so your legs are in a diamond shape. I feel like I'm going to roll down the grass, and it looks like I've been rolling in the grass here. Okay, you're going to take your arms underneath your legs. Fold forward. And hold on to your feet. I'm going to do tortoise pose here. A nice, calming, and introverted yoga pose. Love this one. And then slowly come up and rest back. We're going to finish with a short breath practice, a short pranayama for our descending breath, apana, or descending breath. And I got this breath meditation from Dr. David Frawley's book on yoga and Ayurveda. So as you rest back in Shavasana, take a deep breath. And as you draw your breath in, draw it down to the base of your spine. Feel your body large and stable, like a mountain. And as you breathe out, ground your energy downward through your feet into the earth, allowing any mental or physical tension or toxins to be released into the ground, to be composted. So to continue to draw your breath down to the base of your spine, feeling your body stable like a mountain. And as you breathe out, ground your energy down through your feet into the earth, releasing any mental or physical toxins into the ground. And as you rest back here, I'm going to finish with a poem. It's a funny tongue-in-cheek poem, but I think it's a great poem for our theme of fear this week. It's a poem by Kabir, and it's called See If They Wet Their Pants. The words guru, swami, super swami, master, teacher, yogi, priest, most of those sporting such titles are just peacocks. The litmus test is, hold them upside down over a cliff for a few hours. If they don't wet their pants, maybe you found a real one. Thank you for joining us for episode 98 of Namaste Yoga. Thank you all for your kind donations and for your likes on our Facebook page. Do join us there. We have quite a beautiful community growing there. We're about 5 likes away from 300 likes there, and I would love it if we could get to 300 likes by our 100th episode, which is in 2 weeks. So thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for your yoga. Namaste.